Good morning, I'm Lynn, and I'd like to welcome you to another day at Ewetopia Farms. Let's go inside and see what's happening in here today. Okay, as we go into the barn, it's pretty dark in here. There's Tom. And yes, Tom is an unneutered male barn cat. I can't touch him. He's getting really good about me getting this close to him. And as you saw yesterday, he's made his first friends on the farm with the rams yesterday. He's generally not overly affectionate. He actually gets along well with Buddy as well. And him and Scotty, they just live here together, but they don't socialize. Anyway, someone said I should get all our cats neutered. And so I thought I'd just mention that all our female cats are neutered, or not neutered, spayed. And the males that are here are intact. In the past, we used to have like 20 some barn cats in here, in this barn. And it was out of control. People would drop stray cats off here at the farm because they think that farmers like to have cats around, which most farmers hate having cats around. I'm the only one in the neighborhood that I know of that will tolerate cats being around. Most farmers will find ways to dispose of cats. So what I did is I caught every female on the barn, in the barn, with live traps if they were wild, and just caught them by hand if they were fairly friendly, and I spayed all of them. Like, it cost me a fortune, and over the next few years, coyotes ate all but 2 of them. But the idea was that there would be no more reproducing cats on the property, and it did solve that problem. One of those females ended up being a house cat. She's our old cat. We call her Mother. She had so many litters in here, and she's really ancient now. And also we have Sassy in the house. She's another cat that somebody dropped at this end of our driveway, and she stayed. But they've dropped neutered males as well. We had Oliver here for the longest time. He was declawed and neutered. He got dropped off here. So we have 3 males here. They can't reproduce, and I'm not going to neuter them. For one thing, I can't catch Tom, and I just don't think it's necessary. There are no cats that I know of left in this neighborhood. I think this is it. I think I've done my part, and these guys are not fighting or killing each other, and they stay here, and they're doing their job as rodent control, and I'm happy with that. Now, if a female comes around, then I probably would catch the female. But I haven't seen new cats here for a long time now. So we've got the Dorset rams. They're still in the barn. We figure since these are the guys that are for sale for now, they may as well just stay here. Then it's easier for people to see them, and we don't have to round them up every time that someone wants to come over. Plus we got the fans going, and it's a lot cooler in this barn. I'm keeping the lights off on purpose today, again, to make it cooler in here. Plus we've got the breeding groups in here, and they seem to breed better with dark conditions. Hi everyone, do you like the fan? You see through the fan, you can see some of them are laying right in front of the fan. It's not as hot as it was, but it still is very humid and muggy. And we just ordered 2 more fans, and they arrived today, so I gotta go pick those 2 fans up. So these guys are gonna feel a lot more comfortable. They love the fans. Hi girls, how you doing? Is that Do you have the spot of privilege? Yeah. If you had hair, it would be blowing in the wind. Hi. 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 How you doing? I see someone sporting a fancy feather today. Sheep can dress up too. Hi, how are you guys doing? Hi. I see a bunch of you are in front of the fan too. The smart ones lay right in front of it. The two new fans so that we could put them at the very front of the barn somehow. I don't know how we're going to rig it up, but just in case it's still this hot when we start lambing, I don't want lambs born in excessive heat, so we'll get it rigged up for the lambs that'll be coming in September, hopefully. So someone suggested that I do a video on the dogs around the farm. Namely Ben, Max, and Katie. This is Ben right here, and as you see, every day these guys are with us. They love to do chores with us. They love being with the sheep. Ben and Max are just over a year old, so they're both brothers from the same litter. And you can see right now he's walking really quietly in amongst the sheep, but when he looks at them and they move away from him, you can see right on his face that he thinks he's really accomplished something. And I have to give them credit that the only thing we've really taught them, because we aren't sheep herders, is we've taught them to move the sheep by standing back, not getting in too close unless they really won't move, and then we want them in a little closer to put more pressure. But sheep in general move more slowly, safely, quietly if they're moving at a nice, slow, steady pace. So you don't want dogs charging in and causing stampedes and stuff. And all our dogs are really good at that. Max, you'll hear us yelling at him a lot. He's outside right now. But a border collie's instinct is to block the sheep from getting away from the farmer. So if the sheep are moving out the way they just were there for Ben, naturally they think they should run around front and stop them from getting away. That's border collie instinct. So they bring the sheep back to the farmer. So usually training a dog to push them away, like when we're moving barn to barn, that's when we use the dogs the most, and we're wanting them to push the sheep, to walk behind them and let them go forward. Max so desperately wants to block them. So in most of our videos you hear us yelling at him. Poor guy, he's working so hard, but he inevitably stops the sheep when we want him to move. Ben, because he doesn't like to get yelled at even in the slightest, he's a pleaser. So even if Max is getting yelled at, Ben will walk back to us and stand beside us and look at us as if to say, I'm a good dog. Look at me. I'm right here. I'm obedient. I'm ready to follow your lead. Like he's hilarious that way. So Ben will stay behind and push. And we can't take credit for teaching them to push. That credit goes to Katie here. Katie's our old dog, and I'm going to have to go check my records to see when she was born, but I believe she's 8 years old now. And we got her off a farm back in the middle of nowhere here, and we went to see a litter of pups because our older border collie had just died and we wanted another one. So we went and looked at the pups, and it was she was born in October, and the pups were ready to go in December, and it was freezing cold, and the pups were out in the barn. And we looked at them all, and there was one under a mattress. They had like an old mattress propped up in the barn, and she was smart enough to figure out if she went in there it was a lot warmer. So she was in there. We picked her out because we thought she was the smart one. So she's been here, and she is supposed to be a purebred border collie, but they had Shelties there, and I kind of suspect that she's a cross, a border collie Sheltie cross. Yes, I'm talking about the border collies. I know, it's interesting to some anyway. So regardless, we don't care what she is. What we do care is that she's an extremely good working dog. She's getting a little bit arthritic now because Katie is famous for jumping over gates. Katie came naturally with the healing instincts, which is walking behind them and moving them up. But one thing about her is she's very hard to get on camera, because when I turn the camera on her, she wants to run away and hide. She is totally camera shy, and how she even knows about a camera, I don't know. And Ben's extremely jealous. So as I walk through the barn, I would have liked Katie to be in front so you could see her working, but she's behind me because she knows I'm running the camera. But she has always, right from the beginning, stayed behind the sheep and moved them forward. And so she's a great help. And she can't be bothered waiting for us to open gates and stuff. She leaps over everything. She is at the age now where she's still leaping, and I don't want her to leap because she is getting older and it's a little more difficult for her, and landing on her legs I think is tough on her. But border collies being border collies, they never give up. They keep going and going and going. You have to tell them to stop because they don't stop on their own. So there's Max. Border collies are dogs with obsessions. They develop an obsession very easily, and it stays with them their whole life. Max's obsession is blocking Ben. So as you go around the farm, you'll find Max hiding behind bales, hiding behind tractor wheels, hiding behind posts, hiding around anything he can find, stalking Ben, so that when Ben walks by, he'll jump out and chase him. I don't know what that's about. So another thing these guys do is they love to run back and forth in the feeders while we're working. That way they can monitor the whole barn and see what we're doing. They'll occasionally fixate on the pigeons and bark at them and run after them. But it's more about seeing what we're doing in the pens, and that way they're able to jump in quickly if they're needed. The bad thing about it is they get so excited when they're running back and forth that sometimes they'll take a nip at the sheep when their heads are in the feeder like that, and inevitably their teeth will get caught on an ear tag or something and rip their ears. So we're always discouraging that behavior, and you'll hear us yelling at, again, it's usually Max, because he is much more worked up and harder to stop than Ben. Like I said, you yell at him once, he stops because he doesn't want to get in trouble. Max is a much stronger personality, and he'll push you to the limits if he can. So we took a break from the coveralls after chores, and then Arnie went and did the rest of the second cut hay in that one field. And right now he's got it all back home and he's wrapping it. And while he was doing the hay, I took the opportunity to do some cutting too. And I cut the grass. And it's pretty bad when our lawn takes as long to cut as it takes him to bring home and bale all the hay from one field. But it did. We finished at exactly the same time. But we both got those jobs out of the way. And right now, this is the type of thing Max loves. You see, he's running around right now, all excited, because Ben's walking around here and that machine is spinning. So it gets him excited, and this is a place where he can do a lot of hiding. So right now, you see, he's stalking Ben. He thinks we can't see him, but everyone can see him. But in his mind, he thinks we can't see him. But back to the Border Collies. Katie has been a really good influence on them. Basically, they've been learning everything from her, and as a result, they all work really well together with the sheep. And I would highly recommend that anyone get a Border Collie if they have sheep. They are a great tool. The only thing I would say is to make sure that you buy a puppy from a working farm, not from an agility or a show line or anything like that. You want them to be working dogs, and if they come from a home like that, like ours came from working lines. Even Katie, they had animals and were using the dogs around the farm. So that helps a lot, because I think the working dogs, as opposed to the agility dogs, might be a little more thinkers than those action-packed dogs. Not to say that these Border Collies aren't action-packed, because they are, but they also have intense focus and stuff. And when you have a puppy and you're going to introduce it to the sheep, if it's a shy type of dog, introduce it very slowly with you there. And if the puppy shows any hesitation or fear, take it out of the barn. Like one thing about Border Collies is they have very delicate sensibilities. So if a puppy was to get hit by a sheep, that could be enough to turn it off from sheep for life. You want them to always finish an experience on a good note, and it doesn't take long for the instincts to kick in and for them to really come to love working with the sheep, and they're a great asset. And are you a great asset, Katie? You are. You're just getting a little older now, and a little bit tubby, but you've earned it. Yeah, you've earned it. So, I had a whole bunch of pictures of the puppies, the dogs, as they've been growing up, so I decided to end this off with a little kind of like slideshow video taking you through our dogs' lives up to present. So I hope you enjoy that. So because it would have taken me so long to go through all the photos we've taken over the years of the dogs, I thought I would bring you into our living room and go through a photo album showing you the dogs when we first got them and how they've developed up until today. So we're going to start here with Katie. This was Katie when she first came home as a puppy. She was 6 weeks old when we brought her home. Look at how tiny she was. And we got Ben and Max just before Halloween. So this is Max on the porch when we first got him. Here's Ben and Max in the kitchen on our church pew. Here they are. The brothers have always stayed together. This is when we took him on a walk for the first time in the forest. We brought them back to that log a year later, and the size difference was quite amazing. They tried so hard to get over that log that day. Here's Ben being chased by a ewe. He wasn't quite so cocky then. And here's Max watching Arnie at work. Here they are in their favorite spot, in the feeders at the barn. Here's Max challenging one of the rams. Here they are after a hard day in the barn. They had both crashed right in the barn on the floor before we finished chores. There they are in the yard with Katie. Now when they first came here, Katie had let them know very clearly that she was the boss. And see, there's Max kind of listening to her. But Ben's got the I'm a good dog look that he's always had. Here they are at Halloween. And then running in the feeders, started young. Then it didn't take them long to take over the chairs on the porch. They thought they had every right to be on there. This is when we were harvesting the corn, and we went for a walk to go see Arnie, and they were extremely happy when he came out of the tractor. And Katie has always been like their role model and guide. They pay a lot of attention to Katie. There they are again. They may argue sometimes now, but they always stay together. They are definitely a bonded pair. Here's Max looking under the gate at the sheep. He's always been obsessed with watching the sheep. Doesn't take his eyes off them. There they are again. That's Ben in the field watching the sheep. And Max watching them at the gate. Oops. Here they are wrestling in the field. 3 of them. And the 3 of them out for a walk in the woods. Ben and Max in the barn. Aren't they the cutest? Yeah, they've grown up in the sheep feeders. This is Max with Angel, when Angel was a little baby. She was the cutest thing too. This was a winter's day in front of the fire. And here they are on a walk in the winter because dogs need a break from work as well. There they are helping Arnie with some rapte. In those days, Katie was always on top. Like I say now, with her arthritis, she still jumps up on everything, but age is starting to show itself now. Here they are on another walk. That's Angel there. This is on the house and the sofa, and the cat, that's Oliver, the one that appeared here that was neutered and had no claws. Oliver actually didn't get along with other cats. He didn't fight with them, he just had no bond with cats. I always thought that he thought he was a dog because he liked to always hang around with the dogs. And there they are. This is Ben and Max in front of the Christmas tree in the house. And that's Angel in the middle. More walks on the farm. Good times for everybody. Here's Katie in the field with the sheep in the fall. And here's Ben being introduced to a ewe, and he wasn't too sure about that. Well, that's all for another day, and I hope you guys will join us again tomorrow for the next episode at Ewetopia Farms. Bye for now.